Chapter 1. You thought tonight would change everything. Your fingers had trembled slightly when you tucked the ultrasound report into the velvet-wrapped gift box tied with the ribbon he liked. It was your 3rd anniversary, and you were going to tell him. You waited and waited. The candles melted into wax puddles. The food went cold. And then your phone buzzed. A photo. Him, Ethan Reed, gazing at a woman like she held the stars in her eyes. His expression soft, familiar, but not for you. Not ever for you. You zoomed in. The pink diamond bracelet on her wrist sparkled under the flash. $2 million. You'd seen it on the news, the one you had hoped foolishly, stupidly he'd gotten for you. Another message followed. He doesn't belong to you. Your breath hitched. You stood, heart hammering against your ribs, and stared out into the driveway. The garage light flickered on. A Bugatti rolled in. You watched his silhouette step out, tall, confident, devastatingly composed in a charcoal gray suit, and you hated how handsome he looked. When he entered, you didn't speak. Not immediately. He noticed you only after flipping on the lights. You're still up? Your voice cracked in your throat. I was waiting for you. He smiled, warm and effortless, like the Ethan the world adored. You shouldn't wait up. It's cold. You'll catch something. He stepped closer, kissed your cheek, wrapped you in his arms. The lie was gentle. Then he noticed the untouched table, the cold food, the candles now only smoke. Why so much? Your answer was barely a whisper. It's our anniversary. He froze, and you smelled it floral, sharp, perfume. Not yours. His apology came too quick. I've been so busy, I forgot. You wanted to believe he hadn't. You forced a smile. You were going to surprise me, weren't you, with the bracelet? He blinked, confused. What bracelet? You swallowed hard. The pink diamond one, the one from the auction. A beat. Then he shrugged. That? No. James bought it. I just went along. The press got it wrong. You laughed, bitter and hollow. Right. If you like it that much, I'll ask him tomorrow, or get you something better. That's when he lifted you, sat you on the table, pushed the plates aside like they meant nothing. His hands traced your thigh. His mouth found your neck. His voice dropped into your skin. It's our anniversary. Let me make it up to you. And you hated that your body answered him, hated the fire he lit in your chest, hated how your skin betrayed you while your heart stayed silent. You thought about the photo, the bracelet, the fact that he hadn't opened the gift. You tried to speak. Ethan, But then his mouth found your chest. His hand slid between your thighs, and your thoughts unraveled. We're having a baby, you wanted to say, but instead you closed your eyes and let the lie finish what it started. His mouth moved lower, and whatever strength you had left scattered. The heat, the rhythm, the lie, it drowned out your voice. You let him pull you under. Let him pretend everything was normal. Let your body do what your heart couldn't. You didn't tell him. Not yet. Because something told you he wouldn't hear it. Later, when the room had quieted and your dress was bunched around your waist, you lay in his arms and stared at the ceiling. His hand rested on your hip like a claim. His breath slow, sated. You swallowed. I'm not feeling well. He turned to you, immediately alert. Where does it hurt? You shook your head. Just tired. I need to rest. It wasn't a lie. Your body ached from more than just him. The doctor's voice still echoed in your mind. No stress, no intimacy. The pregnancy is still fragile. But Ethan didn't know you were carrying his child, because every time you tried to tell him, something stopped you. His lies, your fear, that damn bracelet. I'm sorry, he whispered, brushing your hair back. I should have come home sooner. You didn't answer. He didn't press. He helped you dress again, his movements gentle, careful like he was still the man the world thought he was. He asked if you were hungry. You said no, but he went to the kitchen anyway, and you sat there watching his back, watching the man you married move around like nothing was wrong, while inside you, something was breaking. The scent of soup filled the room. He brought you a plate of pasta, warm mushroom broth, and a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Happy anniversary, he said, clinking his glass against yours. You lifted yours with frozen fingers. Happy anniversary. The juice went down like glass. You tried to talk, tried to bring up the photo, the woman, the message, but every time your mouth opened, his charm filled the space between you. He made it feel so normal, so easy to pretend, and maybe you were good at pretending, but the ache didn't go away. You stared at him, this man who said he loved you, who'd held another woman's wrist while the world snapped photos. That bracelet haunted you. The way she wore it, the way he looked at her, that wasn't a stranger. You didn't say a word as you cleared the dishes. In the bedroom, he came up behind you, wrapped his arms around you again, whispered against your neck, "It's still our anniversary." You flinched, just slightly. His hand moved over your stomach, and you almost told him. Almost. But then he stepped back. "You're tired tonight. I'll let you rest." He disappeared into the bathroom. You picked up your phone, opened the photo again, stared at that blurry face, that sharp bracelet, wondered who sent it, wondered why, wondered if you already knew the answer. You lay beside him that night. But you didn't sleep. Not a minute. Because once the seed of doubt takes root, no dream is strong enough to hold it back. And as the moonlight crept across your sheets, you placed your hand over your belly and whispered the secret he didn't know yet. You were carrying his child, but tonight, all you could feel was alone. Chapter 2. My husband might be cheating. You couldn't look at him the same way. Not after the bracelet, not after the photo, not after the way your name tasted so casual in his mouth. Like love wasn't supposed to burn when it touched skin. His breath was hot against your collarbone, his mouth leaving trails of crimson across your chest. He moaned something low. Babe, you're so passionate, and all you could do was close your eyes and pretend that warmth wasn't warping into shame. Emma, you're so beautiful. He peeled away the last layer of your clothing with a gaze that almost convinced you it was real. Almost. You hated that your body still reacted, hated how exposed you were laid bare across the dining table like a meal, not a person. But when his tongue pushed past your lips and his hands roamed your body like a script he'd memorized, you knew this wasn't about connection. This was erasure. You froze, grabbed his arm, shook your head. I'm not feeling well. We need to stop. He blinked, startled, then softened. Where does it hurt? His fingers brushed your cheek and you almost told him. The baby, Ethan. I'm pregnant. We shouldn't be doing this. But your mouth betrayed you. Again. Just tired, you whispered. I need to rest. You didn't want to say it until you were sure. Sure he deserved to hear it. Sure he wasn't lying about that bracelet. Because if he was, if that woman in the photo meant something more, then he didn't deserve this child. Not a heartbeat of it. He nodded like he understood. Dressed you gently, like he was still the man you'd married, lifted you like glass and carried you to a chair. You must be starving. You waited all night. You shook your head, but he didn't listen. He went to the kitchen, loosening his tie, sleeves rolled back, domestic, thoughtful, perfect. It made you sick. As he boiled water, the image flickered again, the bracelet, the tenderness, his smile. Not yours. You told yourself not to jump to conclusions. Maybe there was an explanation. Maybe the truth wasn't what it looked like. But your hands were still shaking when he brought over the soup. Happy anniversary, he said, raising his glass. You lifted yours, forced a smile. Happy anniversary. The juice was bitter. So was the silence. You watched him eat, watched the man who might be cheating on you, talk like nothing was wrong. Was the photo a warning? A claim? He doesn't belong to you. You excused yourself after dinner, took the dishes to the sink, fled to the bedroom before your heart burst out of your chest. He followed, wrapped his arms around you, nuzzled the crook of your neck. I want to make love to you, he whispered. His breath tickled your ear, his hands already roaming, but your voice cracked through the haze. Our anniversary is over. It's 4 a.m. He paused, smiled awkwardly, stepped back. You're right. Another time. You watched him disappear into the bathroom, and when you were alone again, you pulled out your phone. There it was, the photo, the bracelet. You stared at it until your vision blurred. You couldn't sleep, not beside him, not anymore, because once doubt takes root, it grows fangs. You were up before the sun. The house was quiet, but your mind wasn't. You moved like a ghost through the hallway, still in last night's clothes. Martha met you at the stairs, chipper and oblivious. Mrs. Reed, we have a special guest today. You blinked. A guest? She smiled, gesturing toward the living room. It's Ms. Lena. And then you saw her. Lena Grace, sitting gracefully on the velvet sofa like she belonged there. Pale blue gown, perfectly draped, hair brushed into soft gold waves. Not a flaw out of place. And on her wrist, the pink diamond bracelet. Your breath caught. Your blood turned cold. The same one. You knew it. The same bracelet from the photo, from the auction, from your nightmares. Your knees buckled. The room tilted. You didn't hear the words she spoke. You didn't feel the tears that threatened to fall. You just stared at her wrist, that sparkle, that proof. Your husband hadn't just lied. He'd gifted her the thing you'd wanted most, and now she wore it in your house. You remembered the smile on his face in that picture. Not for you, never for you. And as the world went dark around the edges, you wondered, what if it was never you? What if it was always her? Chapter there. Ethan, you lied to me. You don't remember falling, only the way the world tilted sideways. Your knees gave out, and suddenly there were arms around you, warm, familiar, unwelcome. Emma? His voice cut through the rush in your ears. Ethan held you upright, pulled you against his chest, like it meant something, like you hadn't just seen her. You wanted to shove him away. Instead, you stood frozen, your body upright, only because his was holding it up. What's wrong? You look pale. His eyes searched your face, full of that same carefully curated concern. The kind that once made you feel safe. Now it made you feel sick. I'm fine. You pulled in a breath that barely settled. Lena is here. I should greet her. You forced your lips into a smile you didn't feel, because that's what wives do. Pretend, for the sake of appearances, for the sake of the man. You don't look well, he murmured. Why don't you rest? I'll go instead. He motioned to Martha. Call the doctor. Your stomach twisted. No, you said, sharper than intended. Don't call anyone. I'm fine. But you weren't, and you couldn't stay still. Your feet were already moving toward the living room. You needed to see it for yourself. You needed proof. You found him there, kneeling in front of her. His hand was on her ankle, gently circling it, as if she were made of porcelain, and he was the only one allowed to touch her. Does it still hurt? He asked, his voice low and soft. Lena smiled at him, radiant and infuriating. It's much better now. You're pretty good at this. It hit you like a slap. He didn't see you standing in the doorway, not at first, but she did. She saw you, and she pushed him away with a demure smile. Emma, you're here. I twisted my ankle earlier. Ethan was just helping. Helping. That word rattled inside your chest like broken glass. Ethan turned then. You saw it just for a second. That flicker of panic. Then it was gone. She hurt her foot, he said quickly. Don't get the wrong idea. I haven't said anything, you replied, your voice colder than intended. Why would I get the wrong idea? She's your stepsister. Of course you'd help her. He froze. Lena lowered her gaze, suddenly small and sweet. Ethan sighed. Be more careful next time, Lena. How do you even manage to twist your ankle walking? Sorry, she mumbled, shrinking under his scolding. It won't happen again. You're always like this, he added, smiling at her with tired affection. A child, no matter your age. Then he turned back to you, reached for your hand. You're not well. Come sit. You let him touch you, just long enough to remember how it used to feel. Then you pulled away. I'm fine. It's not every day Lena visits. He didn't answer, but you weren't looking at him anymore. Your eyes were locked on the bracelet. That bracelet, the one worth $2 million, the one that was supposed to be yours, the one from the photo. You let your voice drift casually into the air. That bracelet is stunning, Lena. I saw it in the news, the auction. $2 million, right? Ethan stiffened, but Lena smiled sweetly. Ethan bought it. It was meant for you, Emma. She slid it off her wrist slowly, like a peace offering. I shouldn't have accepted it. You seemed to like it, so here. She placed it in your palm, light, cold, final. But when your eyes met hers, the softness slipped, just for a second. You saw it the spark of satisfaction, as if she'd won something, as if she'd kept something. You stared down at the diamond, at the gift that wasn't yours, at the proof, and you couldn't speak. Emma, Ethan said gently, stepping toward you. Do you like it? Let me... You pulled back before he could finish. Your voice was flat. There's no need. You turned and walked away. You didn't run, but it felt like fleeing. The walls pressed in as you climbed the stairs, every step a scream you didn't voice. What were they to each other? What were you to him? You didn't want the answer. You just needed to breathe. But you didn't make it to the bed. Ethan caught up to you at the top of the stairs, his hand wrapped around your wrist and pinned you to the wall. Emma, are you upset? You laughed. Bitter, quiet, sharp. Shouldn't I be? He flinched. You stared at him, at the man who once made you believe you were the only one. You've been lying to me. The words hit the air like shrapnel. That bracelet, you bought it, and you gave it to her, not me. You could barely get the rest out. Your throat tightened, your chest burned. Your eyes blurred. What am I to you? And when he didn't answer, you already knew. Chapter 4. You are my only wife. You didn't mean to break, but something inside you did snapped loud and sudden when you asked him that question, and he gave you silence in return. And maybe it shocked him too, because the next moment Ethan was pulling you into his arms, kissing your cheeks with a desperation that almost looked like love. You're my wife, Emma, he murmured. You're my only wife. But the words didn't stick, not after everything. You lied to me, you said, voice cracking. You lied. Ethan, your throat burned. You tried to keep it together, tried not to cry. You wanted so badly to believe him. But honesty was the one thing your marriage couldn't afford to lose. And he'd taken it without flinching. If there was nothing between him and Lena, why did he hide it? Why the photo? Why the bracelet? Why the look in her eyes? I'm sorry, he said, voice rough with regret. His head dropped low. I didn't want to hurt you. I thought you'd misunderstand. He didn't even try to deny it. She went through something divorced. I only wanted to comfort her. The bracelet, it wasn't what you think. I see her as family, that's all. You stared at him, at the man who once made you feel safe. Now every sentence he spoke felt like stepping on ice, thin and cracking. But your gut knew what your heart didn't want to admit. That living room wasn't familial. That kneeling, that touch, those eyes, they weren't brotherly. They were something else. You tried to speak. tried to ask the real question, but his hands found your waist. His mouth closed over yours, hot, firm, insistent. You didn't want to kiss him back, but your body didn't listen. He deepened it, one hand behind your head, the other tight on your lower back. You felt yourself melting, your anger scattering like dust. You hated how easy it was for him to pull you under. By the time he pulled away, your breath was gone, and your legs barely held you. "Trust me," he whispered. "Lena is my stepmother's daughter. My father raised me to take care of her. I owe her mother more than you know." He said it with eyes so sincere, it hurt to look away, and you wanted to believe him. For the baby, for the part of you still clutching the memory of who he used to be. You nodded, just barely. "Lena's gone now," he added. "I won't see her as often." He reached into his pocket and handed you the bracelet. The same one, still cold. "You like it? Keep it. I'll get you anything else you want, too. Anything." You took it, not because it meant something, but because it meant you were still here, still fighting to matter. You nodded again, small, numb. Maybe you were overreacting. He had always been kind, gentle when it counted. Maybe that was enough. You placed a hand over your abdomen. He still didn't know. The gift box with the ultrasound was still unopened. Still waiting, still buried under all the things you couldn't say. You'd tell him soon. You had to, but only if you were sure he wouldn't break the child the way he'd broken you. It was Samuel's birthday, Ethan's grandfather, the only man in his family who ever made you feel like you belonged. Ethan had insisted on taking you to the estate. You left work early, waited outside the office tower as cars streamed by. You stood straight, shoulders back, still polished, still professional, still you, the version who didn't let personal heartbreak slip into her job. Luxora Group was your pride. Your performance never dipped, even when your marriage did. The sleek Bugatti pulled up to the curb. Ethan stepped out, effortlessly handsome, jacket folded over one arm. He smiled as if nothing in the world had ever gone wrong. "Sorry to keep you waiting," he said, brushing a kiss across your cheek. He took your bag like it was natural, like you hadn't shattered just hours ago. You tried to pretend, too. You let yourself melt just a little into the familiarity of him, the smell of his cologne, the weight of his hand on the small of your back. You wanted that part of him to be real. You laughed at something he said as you approached the car, just enough to forget for a breath. Then you opened the door and saw her, Lena, smiling at you from the passenger seat, comfortable, confident, like she'd never left. The air disappeared from your lungs. Your smile died on your lips. "Lena?" You didn't mean to say it out loud, but there she was, and she didn't even flinch. Chapter 5. He cares about Lena. Deeply. Once, you wouldn't have cared. Lena sitting in Ethan's car wouldn't have meant anything, not if it had happened months ago. Not if there wasn't a pink diamond wrapped around her wrist. Not if his eyes hadn't softened for her in a way they never had for you. But now it felt like a slap, because she was in your seat. The seat he'd once said was yours, his wife's, and hers alone. She turned to you with a smile so light it nearly floated. "My car had some trouble. Ethan offered to drive me to Grandpa's party. I'm sure you don't mind, do you, Emma?" You opened your mouth. You wanted to say yes, to say, "Get out," to say, "Why are you still here?" But you said nothing, because if you admitted it, if you showed the slightest crack, you'd look small, jealous, insecure, and she knew that. She was counting on it. "Ryan," Ethan said, handing the keys to the driver. "Bring the other car." He reached for your hand, led you to the back seat like nothing was wrong, like everything was still normal, like Lena wasn't sitting up front, smiling at him like she belonged there. The car pulled out of the driveway. Ethan's fingers threaded through yours. You didn't speak, neither did he, but Lena did. She turned slightly in her seat, her tone airy. "Emma, why aren't you wearing that bracelet?" You blinked. She knew exactly why. "I got tired of it," you replied, voice calm, almost bored. "People grow out of things. It's just a bracelet." "But Ethan spent $2 million on it," she said, too quick. You smiled, barely. $2 million means nothing to Ethan. "A small amount," he echoed beside you, like a reflex. "Next time, I'll get you something better." Lena laughed. "Rumors say Ethan spoils his wife like a queen. Looks like they're true." But you heard the bitterness laced behind her words. You felt it slide between your ribs like a blade. He was defending you now, saying the right things, holding your hand. But it all felt like damage control, not devotion. Because when she spoke again, it wasn't about you. It was about them. "Ethan," she said, playful and soft. "Remember when I was obsessed with that strawberry ice cream? From that little shop miles away?" You stared ahead, heart slowing. "The one with the crazy lines," she continued. "You ran for blocks, waited over an hour just to bring it back for me. It melted before it even got to me." She giggled, and to your horror, he laughed too, just for a second. But it was enough. The sound gutted you, because he had never done that for you. You'd never been the girl worth running blocks for, never been the kind of memory he held with fondness. You were the present, the obligation, the wife. Lena was the story. Your fingers tensed inside his grip. He must have noticed. He stopped laughing, tightened his hold. That was a long time ago, he muttered. No point in bringing it up. I didn't mean anything by it, Lena added sweetly, just reminiscing. She says things without thinking, Ethan said, attempting to smooth the moment over. You know how she is. You didn't respond. Because how could you? You felt like you were pounding your fists against air, powerless, weightless, floating in someone else's life while they rewrote yours around you. You slipped your hand out of his, quietly, deliberately. He didn't reach for it again. You stared at the back of Lena's head and wondered how many times had his hand touched hers. And if he could run miles for her stand in line for melted promises, what had he ever truly done for you? The car turned into the family estate, winding past immaculate gardens, rose-lined walls and white stone paths, a fortress of legacy. And when it stopped in front of the grand entrance, the butler came out to greet you. You stepped out first, and that's when you heard it, a sharp cry. You turned just in time to see Lena stumble, fall, her body already collapsing toward the gravel. And Ethan, he didn't hesitate. He moved like he'd been trained for it. Fast, automatic. He caught her, arms wrapped around her like instinct, like gravity, like she was still his. She leaned into his chest, clutching her ankle, her face twisted in pain. And then she looked up at you and smiled, barely, but it was there, as if to say, see, he always catches me first. What happened? Ethan asked, concern heavy in his voice. My ankle, she whimpered. Same one. I think I twisted it again. You turned away, your fists clenched at your sides. You didn't say a word, but your nails dug into your palms. And your heart screamed the truth you were too tired to keep burying. He cares about Lena, and not like a brother. Chapter 6. They seem more like lovers. It was absurd, watching them like that, like a pair of lovers. Not step-siblings, not family, not the polite, appropriate distance Ethan always insisted they kept. She leaned into him like she belonged there. He steadied her like it was second nature. And you stood a few feet away, invisible in a role that was supposed to be yours. How do you manage to twist your ankle just walking? Ethan asked her softly. The edge in his voice, gentle, too gentle. There was affection there, undeniable, not scolding, not frustration, something softer, something intimate. Your chest tightened. Suddenly, the years you'd spent beside him felt weightless, like air, like noise without meaning. If she was the one he cared about, why had he married you? I'll be more careful next time, Lena said, her voice light and sweet, almost playful. Even the butler and Ryan looked uneasy, silently escorting you toward the house, while Ethan stayed behind, still tending to her. You walked into the grand living room alone. Dozens of eyes turned toward you, the Reed family, dressed in expensive silk and polished smiles. But Samuel's face lit up when he saw you. Emma, he called, waving you over. Come sit. Where's Ethan? You kept your tone steady, just enough ice to make it sting. Lena twisted her ankle. He's still helping her. I didn't want to interrupt. The words came out sharper than you intended, but you didn't take them back, because whatever injury Lena had wasn't physical. It was strategic, and somehow only Ethan could treat it. You saw the shift in the room the way a few heads turned, the faint lift of brows, as if they too had seen something you weren't supposed to, as if you were the last to know. This is unacceptable. Samuel's cane struck the marble floor, echoing like a gunshot. Has Ethan mistreated you? His eyes narrowed. Tell me the truth. Emma, if he ever hurts you, I'll deal with him myself. Your throat constricted, his voice so full of concern cut deeper than you expected. You forced a smile. It's nothing, Grandpa. We're fine, really. You lied because Samuel's health wasn't great, because worry aged him, because you couldn't bear to give him one more thing to carry. Is Lena badly injured? Daniel asked from across the room. His voice held real concern, not for you, for Lena. Of course, she was his wife's daughter, the daughter he never had, the one he always protected. Not serious, came her voice floating into the room like perfume. You looked up and saw her limping in, supported by Ethan, her arm wrapped around his. She didn't look in pain. She looked victorious. When Ethan noticed you, he dropped her arm too quickly, like guilt was gravity. Daniel stepped in to take her weight, easing her into a seat beside him. Samuel's eyes snapped to Ethan. He didn't bother lowering his voice. Why aren't you with your wife? He barked. What the hell are you doing with Lena? Ethan stumbled over his words. She was hurt. I was just helping. He walked toward you and reached for your hand. You let him see the look in your eyes. Then you pulled away. It's a twisted ankle, Samuel scoffed. She doesn't need a personal doctor. He turned to Ethan, eyes hard. Remember who your wife is. Her name is Emma. Yes, grandfather, Ethan mumbled, gaze flicking toward you. But you didn't meet it. Instead, you walked to Samuel's side, sat beside him, took his hand. and pretended not to hear the way Lena's breath caught when Samuel turned his fury on her. "There's no need for you to attend these family gatherings," he said coldly. "You're not welcome here." Lena's expression cracked, just barely, but it was enough. She looked like she'd been slapped. "Dad?" Daniel interjected, shifting beside her. "Lena is Sylvia's daughter. Do you really have to be this harsh?" "Enough," Samuel said, raising a hand. "We're going to dinner." The dining room was glittering with chandeliers and polished silver. You sat beside Samuel, laughing at his jokes, responding to his stories, anything to avoid the weight of Ethan's eyes. He didn't speak, but you could feel him watching you, like a ghost, hovering just behind your shoulder. After dinner, Samuel nodded toward Ethan. "Take her for a walk. The garden's in bloom." So you went, not because you wanted to, because it was expected. The night air was heavy with floral perfume. The stone path gleamed under soft lights. Neither of you spoke. The silence was louder than anything either of you could have said. Then his phone rang. He looked at the screen, jaw tightening, then answered. A pause. Then his eyes met yours. "I'm sorry, Emma. I have to go check on Lena." You stared at him. The words burned up your throat before you could stop them. "Again? What's wrong this time? Another ankle twist? Are you a doctor now, or just the only man she trusts to touch her?" He flinched. "I'll explain later," he said, already backing away. "She's really not well." You stood there in the garden, the petals drifting in the wind, alone, again. Chapter 7. Divorce me for Lena. You watched him disappear into the dark like he always did. Quick steps, long coat, focused gaze, but never looking back at you. You didn't cry at first. You waited until the door closed, until the path was empty, until you were alone in that garden full of lights and strangers and someone else's birthday. Then the tears came fast, violent, ugly. You gasped for air as they poured from you like you'd held them back for years. Maybe you had. How many times had he left you like this, even on your wedding night? You still didn't know where he'd gone then. He'd never told you. He never explained. And now, you were beginning to wonder if it had always been about her. If Lena had always come first. The memory bit into you harder than the cold air. Your lips trembled, and your body did too, until the ache in your abdomen rose like a tide. You staggered back a step, then another. A sharp cramp clawed through your stomach. You gasped and clutched at your lower belly. The baby, your baby, his baby. You dropped to your knees, hands trembling as you whispered, "I'm sorry." You pressed a palm over your belly. "You might grow up without a father." Your voice cracked. "If he chooses her, if he leaves us, I'll raise you on my own." You meant it. But then another thought slammed into you. What if that wasn't fair? What kind of life could you give this child alone? Would they resent you? Would they need him? Would they grow up broken from the start? You shook your head fiercely. No, the baby wasn't even 2 months old, and already you were in love. Already, your bond was stronger than your pain. You wiped your face, stood slowly, pretended you were fine. You walked toward the house like you weren't breaking apart, one foot after another on the dimly lit path. But fate never lets you walk away clean. Your foot caught on a loose stone. You stumbled and then collapsed hard to the ground, all breath punched from your lungs. A second of silence, then pain, blinding, unbearable pain. It tore through your abdomen like fire, sharp and cold and wet all at once. You couldn't move. Your first thought wasn't for yourself. It was for the baby. No, please. You clawed for your phone with shaking fingers and dialed Ethan, once, twice, again. Voicemail. He doesn't know, you thought. He doesn't even know I'm pregnant. And still, he didn't answer. You knew where he was, with her. You let out a bitter laugh, one hand pressed hard to your stomach, the other gripping your phone like a lifeline. Then you pushed yourself up, wincing, gasping, trembling. You had to make it back to the house. You had to save the baby. Every step was agony. The world swam in and out of focus, but you didn't stop. You whispered to yourself like a prayer, just a little farther, just a little more. If this baby was taken from you because Ethan didn't pick up the phone, you would never forgive him. You were almost there, just a few more feet when you heard it. Voices from the gazebo. You stopped, frozen by sound, by his voice, and then hers. Lena. You stepped closer, hidden behind the trees, your body shaking from pain, but your mind numb. "I can't take it anymore," Lena was sobbing, her arms wrapped around him. I miss you so much, it's driving me insane." You clung to the wooden frame, every word slicing deeper. "I already divorced for you. Can we just start over?" Her voice was raw, real, calculated. "I left everything behind for you, Ethan. So now, you'll leave her too, won't you?" Your heart stopped. "She's nothing compared to what we had. You'll divorce Emma. For me, won't you?" You stopped breathing. Your feet wouldn't move. Your mind screamed at your body to run, but all you could do was stand there watching him hold her, as she cried into his chest, as she asked him to destroy you like it was the most natural thing in the world. Divorce me. For her. The baby kicked, or maybe it was your body breaking again. You wrapped your arms around your stomach. your eyes blurred. The pain spiked higher. And still, he didn't see you, didn't hear you, didn't even know he was about to lose everything. Chapter 8. Ethan, we might have lost our baby. This is absurd. This is beyond absurd. You press your hand to your abdomen, eyes wide and wet with pain, and it hits you again like a cruel, sick joke. You're in agony, and they still haven't noticed. They're still wrapped up in each other, tangled in some fantasy that never ended. You're doubled over, struggling to breathe, and he's still listening to her. It hurts. God, it hurts so bad. You bite down on your lip until it bleeds, trying not to scream. The baby. You can't lose the baby. Your free hand reaches toward them, desperate to pull Ethan out of whatever world he and Lena are lost in. You stagger forward, and just as you do, Ethan steps back from her. His voice is cold, sharper than you expected. You chose someone else, Lena. You don't get to say these things to me now. Her voice breaks, trembling with drama. Ethan, I was wrong. I made a mistake. Just give me one more chance. Please, just one. She throws herself at him again, tears streaking down her face, her arms clinging to him like she's drowning. And Ethan, he doesn't embrace her, but he doesn't pull away immediately either. His expression hardens. I'm already married. My wife is Emma. Your name. He says it like a fact, not like a vow. But even from here, you see it, the flicker in his eyes, the pity, the softness. He still cares about her. And maybe it's not love. Maybe it's guilt, or nostalgia, or some twisted sense of obligation. But either way, it's not you. A laugh escapes your throat, bitter, hollow. You've loved him since you were too young to understand what love even was. You built your whole world around that feeling, clinging to it in secret, step by step, year after year. And now you're here, watching the man you gave everything to look at another woman like she still matters more. Your legs give out. You stumble hard. That's when he sees you. His face drains of color. Emma! He shakes off Lena's hand like it burns and rushes to you. But it's too late. The pain's already clawing through you like fire. You can't even yell. You want to scream, curse him, demand the truth, but you can barely stand. The baby. You grip your belly with both hands, your vision flickering black at the edges, and then a voice, not his. Emma! Chloe. You barely recognize her face as she rushes over. Panic etched in every feature. You sent me your location. What the hell happened? She gasps, grabbing your arm. You didn't answer my calls. Are you okay? Talk to me. You can't talk. Not really, but you manage to force out. Take me away. Please. I don't want to be here. You shove Ethan's hands off you, the very feel of his skin making your body reject him. Don't touch me. Emma, wait. No. You turn your back on him. You let Chloe guide you out, her arms strong and certain as she leads you down the path like she's rescuing you from a fire. Jesus, Emma, she breathes. You look awful. Are you in pain? Do we need to go to the hospital? Behind you, Ethan tries to follow. I'll take her. Lena, go back. Emma needs... You whip your head around, trembling. Stay away. Chloe doesn't wait. She helps you into the car, her grip firm as she shuts the door behind you and slides into the driver's seat. You slump against the window, one hand on your stomach, the other curled into a useless fist in your lap. What happened? Chloe asks, eyes flicking between you and the road. What the hell is going on between you and Ethan? Just drive, you whisper. Please. To the hospital. I'm pregnant, you add, voice cracking. I fell. The pain. It's bad, Chloe. Chloe curses under her breath. You're what? And you didn't tell me? She hits the gas. The car jerks forward. I'll kill him, she mutters. I swear to God, if anything happens to you or that baby... You don't hear the rest. Your head is spinning. Your chest is caving in. Your body is floating. Everything feels distant. And still, your hand doesn't leave your belly. You close your eyes. Hold on, you whisper. Please, baby. Mommy loves you. Chapter 9. How is the baby? You wake to the antiseptic chill of fluorescent lights and the rhythmic beep of a monitor beside your head. For a moment, you're weightless, lost between dream and pain until your hand instinctively flies to your belly. The baby, you gasp, voice cracking, throat raw. My baby. Hey, hey! Chloe's voice rushes in beside you, gentle and grounding. Her palm presses to your forehead. Emma, it's okay. The baby's fine. You blink at her, vision still foggy. I mean it, she says, eyes fierce with urgency. The doctor said you were lucky. They stabilized everything just in time. But her voice lowers. You have to take it easy now. The stress, the physical strain. It's not safe. You nod, barely. Your chest rises shakily with each breath. I thought I lost them, you whisper. I know, she says, and squeezes your hand. But you didn't. Then she looks at you with that familiar fire. What the hell happened, Emma? You hesitate, and then the words come pouring out. Everything, the bracelet, the photo, the lies, Lena's whispering, her clinging hands, Ethan's silence, and the final moment, Lena begging him to divorce you. Chloe listens without interrupting, but you see the fury building in her eyes. She what? Her voice lifts an octave. She asked him to divorce you? Is she insane? You nod, lips pressed tight. And Ethan, what the hell is wrong with him? Chloe spits. He's your husband. You're pregnant with his child. And he's letting her hang all over him like some rejected mistress from a bad soap opera. Her anger feels like a balm, hot, healing, protective. But when she finally asks the real question, so what are you going to do now? Your answer comes too quietly. I don't know. She stares at you like you've lost your mind. Emma. I can't just walk away, you whisper. Not yet. I don't have the strength. The moment you say it, shame creeps into your chest. You know she's right. You know he's failed you. But hope. Hope is a stubborn thing. Chloe throws up her hands. You're brilliant. Brave. Beautiful. But the second he walks into a room, your brain just... She snaps her fingers. You don't disagree. Instead, your thoughts drift. Backward, to college, to cold nights and empty pockets, to that time you fainted from hunger and woke up in the hospital, confused and dizzy, only to find Ethan sitting by your bed, that golden sunlight behind him, softening his sharp jaw, the way he looked at you like you were a problem he didn't know how to solve. You fell then, completely, hopelessly. And when warm meals started showing up on your desk, unclaimed, but clearly his, you convinced yourself it meant something. When you grow up in silence, even a whisper of kindness sounds like a symphony. Chloe's voice pulls you back. He's always had women chasing him. You knew that. You nod. But none of them ever felt like Lena. There's something in the way he looks at her. You saw it in that garden. The way his hands knew exactly where she hurt. Chloe leaves for a moment, says she's grabbing food. You don't stop her. You lie there, fingers resting on your belly, your mind an exhausted loop. Your phone buzzes. You glance at the screen. 27 missed calls. 15 unread messages. All from Ethan. You scoff under your breath. He didn't answer when you needed him, but now he's trying to reach you like a man possessed. You put the phone face down and close your eyes. What are you so afraid of, Ethan? That I'm gone? Or that you finally have to choose? The door swings open. You don't look. Emma. Your eyes snap up. Ethan stands in the doorway, wild-eyed and pale, like he's just come out of a fire. I finally found you, he breathes. Why weren't you answering? Are you okay? You don't speak. He rushes to your bedside and grabs your hand. You pull it away, slowly. The silence stretches like a knife between you. Then finally your voice breaks through low, firm, steady. What's really going on between you and Lena? He freezes. You watch him search for an answer, and then, we almost got together once. You blink. The words hit you like glass. What? He looks down. In the past. Before you. It was complicated. Your chest tightens. You dated her? He hesitates. And that pause says everything. Lena, his stepsister. You feel the room tilt again. Your voice is quiet but sharp. And you didn't think that was something I should know? He says nothing, because there's no good answer to that question. Chapter 10, I am willing to divorce. Yes, he finally says. And just like that, your world goes silent. You don't move, don't breathe. Just sit there in that hospital bed, staring at the man who once meant everything. Yes, he repeats, softer. Lena and I it was in college. The air around you thickens. Your hands tremble. You swallow hard. College? He nods. You feel it before the memory even hits. That sharp twist in your chest. Back then, he was the senior everyone adored. Brilliant, untouchable. And you quiet, invisible, loved him from the shadows. You remember the whispers, the rumors, that he already liked someone. You never knew who. Now you do. It was Lena all along. The realization tastes like rust on your tongue. How do you even know that? He says, suddenly confused. I don't remember ever telling you about that time. You stare at him in disbelief. Ethan, we went to the same university. His mouth falls open slightly. Then he laughs, awkward and unsure. Right, I guess I forgot. That laugh. It hits harder than any slap, because while you were memorizing every detail of him, clinging to every glimpse, he didn't even remember you were there. All those years, all that love, you were invisible, and she was unforgettable. You try to breathe through the tightness in your throat. You look away, biting down on the pain until it tastes like steel. Then tell me, you say quietly. Our wedding night. Why did you leave? He hesitates. Then, she got into an accident. The police called. I went to pick her up. You nod slowly. Of course. Even on the night you became his wife, she came first. You remember the way the sheets felt that night, cold, untouched. You remember waiting, wondering, lying to yourself. And yet you remember seeing her the next day, laughing, beautiful, unaffected, no bruises, no crutches, no bandages, just Lena. Maybe it wasn't a real accident. Maybe all it took was one call, and Ethan would abandon you again. You don't want to play this game anymore. Two women clawing over the same man like love is something to be earned through pain. You sit a little straighter in the bed, calmer, colder. If you still have feelings for her, you say, we should go our separate ways. He stiffens. Emma, no, I didn't want this. I never meant for it to get this far. His voice is strained, cracking under guilt. I'm sorry. His phone buzzes. He doesn't ignore it. He looks at the screen. You already know who it is. He walks to the window and answers, voice low. You don't need to hear the other end to know, but you hear her anyway. Ethan, it hurts. I don't know what to do. He murmurs something. You can't make it out. You don't care to. When he turns around, he looks like a man split in two, like a man already halfway out the door. Emma, you hold up a hand. Just go. He falters. I'll come check on you later, he says. He leans down to kiss your cheek, but you flinch back before his lips can reach you. His eyes soften, but he doesn't try again. He leaves, and this time you don't cry. Not right away. You just sit there in the quiet, the medical report still untouched on the nightstand. If he'd just looked at it, he would have known. You're pregnant, but he didn't look. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe that's all you needed to know. You leave the hospital that afternoon. Chloe drives in silence, checking on you more with glances than words. When she drops you off, she squeezes your hand. You know what you need to do? She says. You nod. You already do. You walk through the back garden slowly, the familiar path leading to the villa. The sunlight filters through the leaves, catching on the stones like fragments of memory. And then you see him, Ethan, leaning against the front wall, arms crossed, waiting. He straightens when he sees you, like it's still his right to stand there. Emma, he says, we need to talk. You stop a few steps away. You look at him, really look at him, and for the first time in forever, you don't feel anything. No ache, no flutter, no longing, just distance. I don't think there's anything left to say, you reply. He blinks. I know you can't let her go, you continue, voice quiet but firm. And I'm tired of pretending I'm not the one being left behind. You take a breath so deep it feels like ripping yourself out of your own chest. I'm willing to divorce. The words land like thunder between you, and for once, Ethan doesn't speak, because there's nothing left to say. You didn't expect to feel this calm. Not after everything. Not after divorce talk and betrayal and bloodshot eyes. But peace has a strange way of arriving after heartbreak. Not loud, not triumphant, just still. The villa's walls feel emptier now, like the silence is breathing beside you. Like it understands you better than Ethan ever did. You move through the house with quiet purpose, packing a few essentials, folding clothes you no longer care to keep. You haven't told Ethan when you're leaving. You don't owe him that. You're halfway through closing the closet when your phone buzzes. Unknown number, your chest tugs. A part of you still expects him to reach out like a child who lost his toy too late. You pick up anyway. Silence. Then Emma. You freeze. That voice. You haven't heard it in 7 years. The voice that once felt like laughter in the dark. The one that used to whisper, I'll never let you go, right before he did. Logan. Sorry, he says. I know I shouldn't have called. Your grip tightens on the phone. Logan. You breathe. You hadn't said his name aloud in so long. It still tastes like heat and promises and regret. I heard about the hospital, he continues. About you. Collapsing. Your blood runs cold. From who? Does it matter? His voice drops, that familiar, low rasp. I'm in town. Can we talk? No. That's what you should say. You haven't seen him since the day he left right after graduation, without a word. One plane ticket, one text, no explanation. And yet, yes, you say. You don't know why. You meet him at a quiet cafe across town. He's already there when you arrive, sitting by the window. Black coat, black coffee, black eyes still full of fire. Your heart doesn't skip, but it remembers. He stands when he sees you. Emma. You nod, keeping distance. You look the same. He doesn't smile. You don't. I've changed. I know. The silence between you is long, not awkward, not warm, just full. I heard you got married, he says eventually. I'm getting divorced. He flinches. Was it him? You don't answer. Instead, you look out the window. Watch the cars blur past like moments you missed. And then he says it. I still think about you. You turn your head slowly. I thought I was doing the right thing back then. He continues, his voice steady but haunted. Leaving, letting you go. But every version of life without you, I hated it. You don't respond. You can't. Because part of you wants to believe him, and another part knows better. I'm not asking to rewrite anything, he says. But if you need someone now, I'm here. And just like that, something shifts. The door opens behind you. The cafe bell jingles. You glance back and freeze. Ethan is standing at the entrance. He looks at Logan, then at you. And in that single moment, you realize he knows who Logan is. His jaw tightens. His eyes darken. And Logan, he just lifts his coffee, never looking away from Ethan, and says, You're late. You barely had time to stand before Ethan crossed the cafe floor, his footsteps slow, controlled, dangerous. The tension cracked between them like glass. Neither man spoke, not yet. Then Logan stood too, meeting Ethan's stare with the calm of someone who'd waited a long time for this exact moment. No one moved. You looked from one to the other, your past and your present both staring like they were ready to burn the other down. And that's when Logan said it, loud, clear, meant for Ethan. She deserves better, and this time I won't walk away. Ethan's fist clenched at his side. You didn't breathe, because in that second you knew this wasn't over. It was just beginning.